show, and I know you're a really busy guy. I know you're into these things, so I wanted to send you this, so just send them something cool like that. And that doesn't always have to be things that are tangible. It doesn't always have to be money. Like, I'm now in a position where we have that flexibility and I have a budget to where I can go and get things for people. It started with just favors and messages and things that I could just do that way. Like, could I connect two people? Like, I'll put two people together that I know because I've met them both that are like, oh man, these people are going to hit it off and they both have good businesses. And so I'm going to put them together. And I know that being the guy that forges that relationship, they'll always remember that I'm the guy that put those guys together. So I've now connected the three of us all together. And so I do a lot of that stuff behind the scenes that we don't talk about because whatever, it's not meant to be on Mind Pump. But when someone interviews me and we dive into shit, like, I can't stress enough to you how important that is. And most people in my space that I think that are not as successful as we are at what we do, I think that's the difference. I think the difference is, and we joke about it off air. Like, we talk about, like, I always tell the guys, like, listen, we're the cool kids, dude. Like, it's, get comfortable with being the cool kids. And the guys always, Sal's my nerd and Justin's my kind of quiet guy when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm like, no, you guys need to get comfortable with being the cool kids, because we are. And we're not cool because we think we're cool. We're cool because we're good to everybody and everybody likes us. It doesn't matter if you're a PhD, doesn't matter if you're some gangster dude, doesn't matter if you're this celebrity model guy. Like, we can talk to anybody and make them feel comfortable. Between the three of us, you're going to connect to one of us. And that's such an important piece, is to forge those. And then when you connect, to foster those relationships, because it's really easy to like, get somebody on the show that's a big name, and then they walk out the door, you liked each other, and oh man, we all hit it off, and then he goes to his life and you go to your life, and then you never really communicate again until you need something again. Like, that's not a good relationship. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make in business is and that's a big turnoff for me. Like, when people reach out to me and they're asking something from me and they want something from me all the time, and it's like, dude, that's such bad business. Like, if you really want, and I'm a giver, like, I'm the type of guy that will give and go beyond for people, but I'm looking for people that really understand that and appreciate that. And so I always think, like, man, if I was in your shoes and you really wanted something from me, I would have came at you a total different way. I would have came at you with trying to give you something, so I would get your attention that way. Like, oh, that was really cool. That guy just did that for no reason. Like, okay, you have my attention now. Now that you have my attention, like, now you find something that we have in common and you connect to me. Now we have something in common, we connect. I'm like, oh, this guy's cool, or this girl's cool. I liked him. Okay. And so I see, and then then there'll become a time where maybe you ask me for a favor, and I'm always looking for things that are very small things to do. Like, I think the very first favor I probably ever asked Tom Billieu to do was like a name of somebody, or like, I think I had him, actually, you know what? The very first favor I ever asked Tom Billieu was to connect me to drama. And I didn't ask him that until I had fostered a relationship with him for well over a year. So well over a year of communicating with him, having him on our show, talking, being friends, connecting, lunches, all kinds of shit we've done together, and then one day I'm going down to LA and I really want to see drama and I really want to get on his show. I message Tom, because I know Tom knows him, and say, hey, could you connect my people with his people and see if we can put something together? And absolutely, he didn't. I mean, it's such a simple task that he can do, and I know he's going to do me a solid because I had done all these other things from him. And I know I'm not expecting a lot from him. Like, it's like, come on, it's an email that you and I both know you're not going to write. You're going to have your assistant do it for you, which is fine. Like, that's all I need. I just need you to intro us to somebody. And he did. And in fact, actually, he took the time to write the email, and he wrote a very nice email about me to drama, and that's why we got connected to drama.
Yeah,
so
that's actually, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is going to be the easiest podcast I ever do, because you're going down my list of questions just talking. So it's amazing.
Well, these are the things that I think that a lot, and I'm glad you were going to plan to go this way, because I think a lot of people ask us about the show and the fitness questions and the science side, which, don't get me wrong, all that stuff is important, but the part that makes the company thrive and keep going is to continually to grow the network, the network of people that we have established good relationships with. And a lot of people have a scarcity mindset. They're afraid. And this was very common for me even when I was a manager of trainers, right? So I remember having a staff of trainers that would work for me, and I'd have anywhere between 20 to 30 people, trainers, right? And very good, very smart, educated, talented, good looking, fit, all what you need to be a great trainer. And, very secretive, very quiet, very to themselves about their programming, about what they were doing with their clients. Like no one wants to share with each other because they're all working in this fishbowl together, and they're afraid. It's like a bunch of piranha sharks. Everybody is afraid that if they let out their information, that somebody else will use it, and then now they'll get the clients. And I was never like that. I was the opposite. As I came up, as soon as I learned something, the way that it becomes cemented into my brain was for me to share it with somebody else and to give it to somebody else. And I know the more I did that, the more open-minded those people were to share with me, or that they would now build relationships with me, because here comes Adam again. He's going to come over, and I can always lean on him to give me the latest and greatest on whatever is going on with the company, because he's like an open book about everything. And so I was always that guy. And then when I had clients and I was the boss, I would travel and leave somewhere, and I would have my clients train with other trainers. And I remember the first time I ever did that, I remember my trainer looking back at me and goes like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And he kind of said it like in a cocky way, like, "Are you sure you want to give me your clients?" I'm like, "Of course, dude. Like, train them good, man." He's like, "Well, what if they don't come back?" I'd be like, "Well, that would be a great lesson for me." And he's like, "Really? You're just okay with that?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Because here's what happens.
It's all the ego.
Yeah, that's all ego to not let that happen. It's like, if my client who's been training with me for the last 2 years leaves me to go train with you after one session, that tells me two major things that are fucking extremely important to me as the boss. One, you're a hell of a trainer, and I'm glad you're fucking working for me, and I'm fucking glad you now have my client that I no longer have anymore. Two, that is a signal to me that I need to step the fuck up, because somebody who works for me has the ability to even take a client from me. So it's not a bad thing at all. It's a very good thing. It's a great learning lesson for me, and it's great kudos to you as a trainer. So, hey, train the fuck out of her and try and steal her. I don't care. Like that make me step my game up. And so all my trainers could look at me kind of crazy and sideways with that, but that was my attitude. And it's still my attitude in this space. Like, we meet a lot of these people, and the people are that way with their connections. Like you'll have like this one podcast who gets kind of like a big name guest, because they have a family member who's connected to somebody who's famous. And so they get him on the show, and it's like, "Oh shit, bro, how did you get so-and-so on your show?" "Oh yeah, it's my cousin's aunt's friend's, niece or nephew or whatever like that is, knows Will Smith."
Handout.
Right. So you got like a handout on a show, and by no means are they sharing that. It's like, like they're hoarding it. No way of like, "Oh yeah, no, they're just untouchable, and we got lucky, we had them on the show." And it's like, "Oh, okay, cool, bro." That's kind of how people are. They get that way. We're the opposite. Like every time I have a good guest, like other podcasters that I tell, I'm like, "Listen, if you get a chance, make sure you interview this guy. He was great." Or, "Hey, you want me to put you in contact with this person? I'll put you in contact with that person." And so I do that for a lot of our peers. And because we've done things like that, I think we've become known as those guys that are like that, that we're not a bunch of assholes who are trying to hoard information, or we're trying to fuck anybody else's business or take from you. In fact, we're an open book of information. You can ask us anything. We'll share everything. I mean, when we have people come in, I'm very, very blunt with them. I'm like, you know what I hate? I hate when I talk to somebody about business and they're coy about their fucking numbers and revenue, and they're quiet about all that stuff, because that's the shit I'm into. And I want to know like what I'm getting to. Like, what was the biggest fucking looking behind the curtain for me was YouTube. Like, I thought that, like, you see all these YouTube stars that supposedly make all this fucking money. You know how much money my YouTube makes? It makes fucking $1,000, dude. $1,000 a month. That's what 60. It's now to about 1,200.
Yeah, but so you're not a Jake Paul doing something stupid, getting millions of views either. You're putting out good information on your YouTube page.
Right, but the point is that a lot of people think that once you get to, a certain number, that you're making really huge money. Even like a Jake Paul. I mean, that's a great example, because look what happened when he filmed the whole suicide thing. Like, how much money did he lose just by being kicked off of YouTube for a fucking week or two or whatever it was?
But like, then all the publicity from all the news talking about it, and then he gets more when he comes back on. Right.
But a lot of these guys don't have really viable businesses, man. They have built something that they have to continue to feed. This is a conversation that I had with my boy Bradley, man. And I can see it on his face how stressed out he is all the time. The guy deals with all kinds of anxiety, and I see why, because sure, he's built up this monster YouTube and Instagram of millions of eyes on him, but how did he do it? He did it by constantly putting out all these viral type videos. And you now become like this performer for this audience of people that you don't even really know. Like, I never want to be a slave to my audience like that. Like, I don't want to have to like dance around a certain way or flip a car over or squat on a scooter or film a dead guy or do something fucking crazy every week just so I can continue to monetize and make money. Because when you don't put that out, the revenue stops.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just keep making money. For sure, a video goes up, but most of your revenue that's made on that video is in the first few days to the first week that everybody views it. Then as it trickles in, you're making pennies on it. You're not making hardly any money as it grows up later on. So it's not that much money. And I know for a lot of people, they hear like $100,000. Holy shit, he made $100,000 or $1 million just off that one video. Well, that sounds like a lot, but when you are running a business, it's really not that much money. And you got to keep coming up with that over and over and over. And then what happens when that guy's 35 years old? Does he still want to keep doing that? Is he still going to want to be like this YouTube guy vlogging every single day, sharing his life with everybody, doing all this funny, quirky, weird shit every fucking single day? He's rich now, but he can't even go out and like enjoy it by himself. You can't even go somewhere without having to film it because you know you have to make content so you know you can make money. Fuck that, bro. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah,
that's a slave to that. And you see it when you meet these guys and you talk to them off air and behind scenes and you see like, and you're like, whoa, it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Everybody thinks like this whole YouTube celebrity thing is that cool. It's not that cool. There's a lot of fucking stress and anxiety that comes with all that shit. And it's not what it's all credit. And it's not as much money as everybody thought. I thought once you got 50,000 followers, we would be making all kinds of money in YouTube. Shit, don't even pay the bill for the guy who runs the YouTube channel, you know?
For sure. Well, to go back on what you said about your willingness to give and everything, when I messaged you initially on Insta and you said, hey, let's do a podcast about it, I was like floored. Like, all these emotions rushed through me, like, whoa, he actually like wants to do this with me. And it was just, there was kind of a strategy in my head on like, you know, I reached out to you first out of everybody that I listened to for a reason, because I had a feeling, because I listened to the show and all that, and I kind of knew your personality, and I'm like, maybe if I just try to start asking him some podcasting questions, he'll give me something just so I can learn some more. And it was shocking. And then I reached out to Drama just to ask him some business stuff, and you know, he got back to me with, you know, read this book and, you know, keep me posted on how you're doing and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, so there's light here. You just gotta. And I've never been one to do Instagram and all that stuff, so I don't have any followers or anything on there. And it's just one of those things, like, I had to get out of my shell of being a golf course guy and start reaching out to these people that I never thought I'd be able to even get a hold of.
Right. Isn't that great? It's so great that we live in a world now where you can do that, man, where you can, I mean, I watched Drama and Rob and Big when I was fucking, I don't know how many years ago that was when the first one came out.
Exactly.
But that's why I got Bulldogs. A lot of people don't know that. Like the whole Bulldog thing for me came from watching Rob and Big and loving fucking Meaty. And I was like, I want a fucking Bulldog one day when I have time. Yeah. So it's cool now to think that we're in a position that we get to hang out and talk to a lot of these people. And a lot of them are really cool. A lot of them I don't hang out with. A lot of them aren't very cool. A lot of them are fucking dorks outside of the podcast. But there are quite a few of them that I've built some really strong relationships with, and they're definitely my people, and I really, really like them. And I feel like there are more cool people than there are douchebags in the podcasting world. YouTube's a little hit and miss, man. YouTube, you get some funny people. YouTube, what I find on them, all the YouTube celebrities are nothing like what they are on their YouTube. Nothing. Yeah. I have yet to meet somebody on their YouTube that is like that in real life. They're always like way different. And it's crazy. I remember the first time we had Connor Murphy on, dude, and I love Connor. Connor's a good kid, but he is not the personality that you see on YouTube. He's totally like this shy, bashful kid, like doesn't look you in the eye, kind of looks at the ground, like totally different. He's just not, you think this dude would be this super suave, like outgoing, charismatic personality.
Lady Slayer.
Yes, dude, not like that at all. And the more and more of these guys that I met like that, I was like, oh shit. What they do really well is they have this ability that when the camera turns on, they just boom, all of a sudden this personality comes out, and they do really well looking at their phone and acting. And it's like, they have a gift and they're talented with it. And that's not to take anything from, but they're different. They're not some people I think follow these people thinking that who they're following is like that. They're not. And when you meet